June 10th. Can you please call roll?
Commissioner Alchek, Commissioner Downing, Vice Chair Fine,
Present.
Commissioner Gardias,
Present.
Commissioner Michael, Commissioner Rosenblum, Chair Tanaka,
Present.
4 present.
Okay, it's time of the meeting where members of the public who wish to speak on a topic that's not on an agenda, you can pick up a card in the back and submit it to someone here at the front, and you can speak for 3 minutes per speaker. Are there any cards?
We have no cards.
Okay, so we're going to close the public hearing on that and open the public hearing for the review and recommendation for the proposed bicycle and pedestrian improvement along Park Boulevard. Does staff have a presentation? Oh, that's right, director's report, I forgot. Let's do director's report first.
As far as the director's report, not much to report, actually. There was the budget discussion that took place on Monday. The Planning and Community Environment Department did get a few new positions. One is a parking operations position, a transportation operations and traffic operations position that'll be funded starting January 1st next year. And we also picked up a code enforcement officer, a lead code enforcement officer to assist us with our more proactive code enforcement efforts. Other than that, not much to report.
I had a question.
Go ahead.
So I had a question about the council meeting and the discussion of the single-story overlay. And my question was, I did a little search on this issue that's come up in the past, and my question is, what's the role of the Planning and Transportation Commission in terms of these proposed changes in zoning?
Thank you, and actually I forgot to mention that, so thank you for bringing that to the Commission's attention. We are, I don't believe the Commission landed yet on an action as relative to the fees or not. I think we might be coming back with some information on that. I could be wrong about it, but we do anticipate that there's going to be a number of single-story overlays that are submitted. That process will go through the Planning and Transportation Commission as amendments to the zoning code and possibly the district map as well. So you'll be a part of that review process and make a recommendation onto the City Council.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the public hearing. Basically, the review and recommendations for proposed bicycle and pedestrian improvements along Park Boulevard. The staff have a report or presentation?
Good evening, Commissioners. This is Jessica Sullivan, Transportation Planning Manager. So tonight we are giving you a presentation overview of the proposed bicycle and pedestrian improvements along Wilkie Way and Park Boulevard. The presentation tonight is going to focus on the concept plan line, which is the sort of the first part of the design process for these proposed improvements. And this project is one of many projects that you will be hearing in the next probably 6 to 12 months. And it's a key projects as part of our 2012 Bicycle and Pedestrian Transportation Plan. So doing the staff presentation tonight is Sarah Syed. She's our new Senior Transportation Planner, who has been really moving these projects forward for us.
Thank you, Jessica. Good evening. Sarah Syed, Senior Transportation Planner. I'm not sure, can you all see, is there another projector? So I'm just gonna, oh, you've got it right there. Okay, wonderful. So I think we've already covered the first couple of slides. These are the things we're going to go over tonight, a brief bit of background, the methodology for these two projects, the proposed concept plans, questions and discussion, and next steps. We have a bicycle and pedestrian master plan 2012 that the city is working to implement. Over 21 projects are currently in the planning and design stage. And the city's goal is to increase cycling by 100% by 2020, both local trips and total work trips. So our priority currently is moving forward our Bicycle Boulevard network, and these two projects here tonight are both part of that network. let me tell you a little bit about Park Boulevard and Wilkie Way. How many folks here use these streets? Just to get a poll. Okay, so folks are probably pretty familiar with them. It really is a key north-south corridor in the city. It's about 2.5 miles long, and it is our most used bicycle corridor in the city today. It also has a large number of walk trips. The nodes along here include Caltrain, Stanford, Palo Alto High School, many parks, and so we're really working to improve the walking environment as well as part of this project. It's a community connector. We see just all different folks using these routes. It's on our school commute route, and just a place today. It is a fairly low-stress bike route, but there's a lot we can do to make it more attractive to people who walk and people who bike. So the goal of these projects is really to create a continuous low-stress network, an on-street network that reduces conflicts between people who bike and drive and walk, and increases free-flow travel for people on bicycles. We're looking to improve bicycle travel times and also calm these streets. There are a few areas where we've observed high speeds, and it's very important that we keep speeds down so people feel safe, people who are cycling with their kids and out there walking. Opportunities and challenges. So along this corridor, we've got a real variety of environments, a lot of pretty quiet residential streets, and then we also go right through the heart of the Cal Ave commercial district. So there really are a lot of pulse points where you do have a few challenges, loading taking place in the bike lanes, just opportunities where we can improve the environment. So that's what we're hoping to address with these projects. So here's how we got to where we are today. The city began this project back a little over a year ago, and we started off with outreach and data collection, doing tabling at the farmers market, bike along tours, where we studied these corridors with the community, developing an interactive website to solicit input on hotspots and things folks would like to see improved. We also did a large amount of data collection. We can talk about that a little more later, just to provide an analytical basis for these projects. And then we held 3 community meetings where we came forward with various concepts, refined them, talked to the community, and now we're here tonight with the final concept plans. So at this point in the process, we're looking to move those forward to the City Council, and then assuming we move forward, we'll enter the next phase and work on final design, environmental assessment, and construction. So here's just a little more detail on the outreach, the dates of the meetings we held, and here's a few photos from the ride-along tours and the outreach at the farmers market. Some of the input that we received at the community meetings, this is just a high-level summary, not all the comments, but generally we heard a lot of support for the concepts, and especially the traffic calming treatments and working to increase the free flow travel for bicycles. There was support for wider bike lanes in the commercial district. Some of the concerns we heard were concerns about traffic impact of development along Park Boulevard, and support for measures that discourage that traffic from these routes. So here's a summary of the data that we collected along key intersections going from the north to the south. And this route really does, it connects via Castellea to Palo Alto High School, and then to Park Boulevard, right there by Piers Park. So just starting with Park Boulevard, you really see the bicycle volumes, for example, at Cambridge Avenue, are 1,800 cyclists a day, and about a third as many people who walk. So very, very heavily utilized. And in the commercial district, the levels of people walking double from that, and we've got nearly 1,200 people who walk at Park Boulevard and Sherman Avenue, with 1,500 cyclists. As you move further south, the volumes decrease slightly in the residential neighborhood, but are still very high, over 700 cyclists on Wilkie Way at Tennessee Lane. That's right near Charleston. And so, compared to the volumes of cars, there's about twice as many cars, but just very strong utilization here. We collected this data using both video cameras as well as tube counters. When we look at speeds, our goal on the bicycle boulevards is really to keep the speeds around 20 miles per hour is our goal. The speeds through here are a little high, especially when you're approaching the expressways and in the commercial district. So in the design phase, we'll be working really carefully to ensure we can bring those speeds down to keep this an attractive area for cyclists. So at this point, we're just going to run through a few of the areas. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, and it's not comprehensive. I want to save most of the time for discussion and questions, but this is an illustration of how we could improve the Park and Castellea intersection. So just working to expand the landscaping there and really extend the park into this. It's a cul-de-sac today. It really, there are no cars on that area there today. So just working to make it more of a space for people who walk and bike, and to make it comfortable for people who are carrying children or trailers. We're going to be widening some of these openings here so they can pass through more comfortably. At Park and Stanford, we're proposing to add a traffic circle at that intersection and an all-way yield instead of the current four-way stop. Park in Oxford is right near the CalAV commercial district, and we do have landscaped, well, we have medians there today, and they're not landscaped. So we're looking at removing those to create a larger travel area for the cyclist. A lot of cyclists are kind of pinched there in those bicycle lanes, so our proposal is to remove these right here. This is the area where we saw the truck parking in the bike lane, and we are proposing a high visibility treatment to improve the experience there and to reduce the conflicts. Further south in the corridor, at Park and Margarita, we're also proposing to widen the openings here for cyclists. I did want to mention, we just, the area where I don't have any photos is really through the commercial district, and the type of improvements we're proposing there are primarily wider bike lanes. Down in this southern part of the corridor, we're also proposing stop sign removal at a couple of the T intersections to assign the right-of-way to the bicycle boulevard. So I did bring the concept plans if we need to pull those up, but at this point that concludes our presentation. Thanks.
Okay, so at this point, I'd like to open the public hearing for this item to the public. So if there are any members of the public that wish to speak on an item, please fill out a card in back and hand it to someone here at front, and we will call your name one by one. So, Vice Chair, do we have any speakers?
We do. First up is Mr. Ken Joy.
Okay, so Ken, you will have 5 minutes.
I promise I won't use that much. Ken Joy, I'm a new member of the Pedestrian and Bicycle Advisory Committee, coming here for the first time, so I want to thank you for the opportunity to address you and just briefly say I hope you support the staff recommendation. I think they did a great job, and it will certainly be a vast improvement if we can see all these things put into effect. So, thanks.
Next, we have Ms. Rob Robinson.
I'd like to talk about Appendix D. I'm Rob Robinson, member of the Payback for since 7 or 8 years. I live on Wilkie Way, 46 years, so I'm really familiar with Figure 6 of Attachment D, which is the next to the last page. I was pleased to see the video and the counters basically across the street from my house, which is in the 4100 block of Wilkie, in May of 2014. And astounded in October when I saw the data table, which Sarah has shared with you. And it's important to note that 1 out of 3 vehicles going down Wilkie is a bicycle. Now, that can be confusing to some who say, gee, we've already made our goal, 30% mode share on Wilkie Way. No, there's other issues. The data was taken between 2 stop signs that exist today, James and Carolina, and the speed is 85th percentile 29. So it's really obvious that there's speed reductions needed when you flip those signs as proposed, which I totally agree with that. I think motorists will actually like that. They will be able to proceed through the street without stopping twice to get to Meadow from Charleston, or the reverse, Meadow to Charleston, Charleston to Meadow. So I hope it's a win-win for everybody. On the other hand, the next panel down shows the piece of Wilkie that goes to the bridge. And the bridge is the, as quoted by one of our participants in Bike to Work Day, the adorable bridge. It's the wooden bridge that's been there since 1970s, I think. There are no stop signs. There are speed tables proposed, and I really endorse that. But we have no data about speeds. And I think some of the folks, they see the green at Charleston and they speed up. So it's a dangerous area that deserves the speed. So my final word is, I don't understand how speed tables totally work. There's a proposed 3.5 foot by 10 foot table at the bottom, but I would say that I think most people think the speed bumps on Ross are too severe, and the speed tables on Maybell are not effective. So there's something in between that I believe is going to be friendly for cars and bicycles. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last speaker here is Emma Schloss. Sorry if I butchered that.
Close. My name is Emma Schlaze. I'm the policy manager for Silicon Valley Bike Coalition. We've been thrilled with the progress of the 2012 Bike and Pedestrian Plan, as well as the Bike Boulevard projects over the past year or so. We urge you to support this particular project, Park Boulevard and Wilkie Way. As you know, they're existing bike boulevards used by many people, as shown in the traffic volume, bicycle volume, and it connects between downtown, Cal Ave, and Mountain View. The proposed improvements will make it easier, safer, and faster for people who bike to use this route, in particular prioritizing the traffic flow and using traffic calming measures. These changes will also help to encourage those who don't already bike to try it out and contribute to Palo Alto's goals to increase biking and reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and just create a much better bicycle boulevard. So we urge you to support this plan. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, at this point, we're going to close the public hearing for this item, and we'll bring it back to the commission, And the way I like to structure this meeting is we'll start off by just doing general Q&A. So if you have a question, hit your lights and I'll call on you. And then if you don't have a question, then don't worry about it. And then what we'll do is go through potential issues that we want to discuss, if there are any. And so let's start off with questions. So if commissioners have questions, please hit your lights. I see a question from Commissioner Gardias.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's just a formal proposal to display all the sheets as we discuss them on the screens for us and for the public. This was the good practice that we established at one of the hearings, so if you may just do this for us, it would be very nice. Thank you.
Commissioner Michael.
Yeah, I was curious if you can tell us at the community meetings, which you had several meetings, were there any suggestions or concerns or criticisms from the people who attended those meetings that were unresolved in what you're presenting here tonight?
Thank you. So I'm brand new to the city and I wasn't able to be at those meetings, so I'm going to turn this one over to Ryan McLean with our consultant team, Fair and Peers.
Thank you. Thanks, commissioners. Again, Ryan McLean with Fair and Peers. Outstanding issues. So some of the issues that were brought up were a concern about loss of parking on the streets. So we've minimized that by limiting the size of the bulb outs, the curb extensions to just at the intersections where cars aren't supposed to be parking anyway. So that was one of the concerns that was addressed. There was some concern about removal of the stop signs and whether that was going to lead to increased speeds on Wilkie, especially on Wilkie. So we did end up adding additional speed tables from what we had originally proposed to address that, to keep the speeds lower but promote the through traffic for the bike boulevard. And then, as Sarah had mentioned, there was concern that the additional development happening near Cal Ave would lead to increased traffic volumes on those streets and result in a less comfortable environment for bicyclists. So what came out of that was additional crosswalks, a raised crosswalk and some beacons in that area to help both bicyclists and pedestrians cross park in that area as a result of that. I guess to answer your question, no, there wasn't anything that was really left unresolved.
Okay. It sounds like the community outreach was very effective and successful, so that's terrific. One bit of data that might be useful in the future, you've got good data on the count and the speeds, would be relative to safety, any history of accidents or problems that would affect safety. So I think that's probably a goal that you want to continue improvements in regard to safety of all the users, cars, cyclists, and pedestrians.
Commissioner Gardias.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, yeah, I think it's a natural route, right? I mean, you guys are going to have my vote right now, so that's not a brainer to me. So, but there are a couple of questions, right? And I will just get into the details later. But my general question is like this, right? Because this ends at the boundary of Palo Alto and Mountain View. And I discovered this route a couple of years ago, just accidentally. I was coming from Mountain View, and I was just looking for some route to Palo Alto, and then I found the bridge. I said, okay, my gosh, it looks great. But then it's not naturally recognizable on Mountain View side. So my question to you is like this: what can be done just to lure this population from Mountain View, bike to Palo Alto, shop in Palo Alto? You know, it sounds like fun. What do we do to achieve this? Thank you.
Great comment. The City of Mountain View just earlier this week released their draft bicycle plan, and we are working with their staff on these border areas to increase the visibility. So with wayfinding, you know, and also they're working at improving their facilities. This leads to California Avenue that goes into Mountain View. So we're working closely with the city, and hopefully we'll draw those Mountain View riders. I know it's part of my route. I come right through there, but it was hard to find.
Okay, Vice Chair.
Thank you. That was a very helpful presentation. Just two quick questions. One, I'm wondering if the city has a map of bicycle volumes across the street, or if that data is available, just to compare Park to all the other bike routes we have.
Of comparison to all of the other bicycle
Yeah,
routes?
I'm just wondering if we have an
Right.
index of bicycle volumes across the city, actually.
You know, we're working right now to actually share that data and compile it. So we did do comprehensive counts for all of our projects, so we can bring that in the future.
Okay. And the second question is, what other tools does the city actually have to get these counts, whether it's the little strips on the road or day counts, things like that? Just wondering if there's any other cameras we use, like that.
In our bicycle and pedestrian master plan, it really identified our annual school counts as another important source of data that we use to benchmark these projects. So we do regular counts in the schools, but primarily the tube counts and the video counts are our primary tools. Are you aware of any others that we've used, either Jessica or Ryan?
Now with any intersection peak hour counts that get collected, it used to just be vehicles, which directions they turn during the peak hour with someone out there pushing a button on the thing. So that now includes bicycles by default, so there'll be more data.
And the video counters how many are there? Do we know?
Well, those were just set up for the project, so they
themselves,
remain
okay.
up for about a week.
They're not permanent. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, one more just addition to that. We do have an active RFP out right now, which includes bicycle and pedestrian counters, specifically around public schools. So our intention is to identify, collect some more comprehensive data on the number of kids who are using our network to go to school and back.
Commissioner Michael.
As a follow-up to that, it may be a little bit too granular, but is it useful at some point to try to figure out within the count of cyclists, roughly what the percentage are students, commuters to work, and other that might include recreational cyclists, but not students or people who are commuting to work? Because that might affect the usage in terms of time of day or the level of sophistication, if it's young elementary school students or high school students, if that affects sort of the design of the bike path or some of the traffic calming.
Commissioner Gardias.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. So I have a question to Ryan. Who is James Hutchinson? Okay, so Mr. Robinson, maybe you can help us. I don't know if you're aware about the monument to James Hutchinson that's next to the bridge.
Ellen Fletcher had a lot to do with the bridge, so I really don't know about James other than what the plaque says.
Okay, so if I may make a comment about this, right? Because, part of the beauty of Palo Alto is that we respect lots of individuals that contributed to the community. Hewlett-Packard has its garage, right? We still have to recognize Mr. Steve Jobs, who was designing some features, right? And then there is a James Hutchinson that maybe because, maybe if it was not him, we would never had this hearing and those routes. So what I would like to ask you to do, please include in your plans improvement around that monument. When you come to the bridge, this monument pretty much is hidden behind the cars that park in the trapezoid area that's facing the creek. And you can just take a look at this. Just, I don't know if maybe we can just take a part of this area. They don't need the trapezoid. They just need the rectangular area to park. Maybe we can just designate this part of the ground to move this this monument outside of the parked cars, just bring it to the public, respect, provide more respect to this pioneer of biking, which whom I think he was. And just, if this could be done, that would be fantastic, right? I don't think that I need to add this to the approval of this. I trust that you're gonna put it on the plans. There will be funds, but it would sound like a nice accent to the entry of the bridge, right?
Thank you. We'll take a look at that.
Thanks.
Okay, seeing that we have no other questions from the commissioners, let's move to the second phase of the meeting, which is basically discussing issues. So I listed some of the potential ones. I'm not sure if they're real. It sounds like the staff addressed a lot of them. So loss of parking on the street, removal of stop signs on Wilkie, perhaps other areas, additional development on Cal Ave, safety of users, being recognized by the Mountain View side, the monument. I think a few other ones might be like, well, let me just open it up to see if other commissioners had potential issues that we want to discuss, and if any of these issues are worthy of further discussion, or whether you feel that the answers from staff are sufficient. So I see a light from Commissioner Gardias.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to add to this list, right? Just a very quick verification. There are some details that generally agreeing with the direction of the plan. There were some of the details that I would like to just ask staff to clarify. Like, for example, there was a stop sign that was removed at one of the cross sections, and I wasn't really sure if that is an error or that is intentional. And if you give me a couple of minutes later on, I can just cover those. Thank you.
Vice Chair.
Just one quick question. It's regarding when you're coming from Castellea towards Park Boulevard and you make that left. I'm just trying to understand what's the encouraged movement for cyclists there?
A left from which route?
When you're coming from Castellea, you come to that little triangular bollards, and then I'm trying to go left or south on Park. What's the encouraged movement? Are you encouraged to cross both lanes of traffic as a cyclist? Okay.
Yes. So it will operate similarly to how it does today when you're coming out there, so from Castellea. And we are adding a little high visibility treatment there on Park in the median. Primarily that's to serve those coming on Park, turning left to go up Castellea, but the visibility is pretty good there when you're exiting, so we're not planning to change too much.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so maybe we'll go through these one by one, and if there's something that we want to talk about, hit your button. Otherwise, we'll keep on going. So I'm just read them one after another. So I think a lot of these again has been addressed by staff, but just in case. So loss of parking on the street. Is there anything that we want to discuss about some of the safety improvements that might cause loss of parking? Okay, I don't see anything. So removal. Maybe this is combined with yours, Commissioner Gardias. Removal of stop signs on Wilkie. You also wanted some details about stop signs in general. So do you want to lead that discussion?
Well, I have one particular stop sign, which is actually at Park Boulevard at Stanford. Looks like there's stop signs on Stanford are being removed and replaced with the yield signs. It looks like an error to me, but maybe there is something that that's intentional in this. If you could just address this, please. So let me see if there is this one, if there is anything else.
Could we put this picture on the?
Yeah, that's right. This is exhibit 1, figure 1. If you could just move to this. That's right. Those are the stop signs that are being removed and Stanford when it butts to Park Boulevard and replaced with yield signs.
Yeah, so at this location, so Stanford is also identified as a bicycle boulevard. So it's the intersection of two bicycle boulevards, and always stops are uncomfortable for bicyclists to come to a complete stop and start up again in terms of momentum and maintaining momentum. So the idea here was to use that traffic circle that's placed in the center to slow the speeds of all traffic through that intersection, but still allow to provide free flow movement of bicyclists in and out of of all three legs of that, since it is a bicycle boulevard. The other thing was to place yield signs on some approaches, but not all approaches, is a conflicting message. So it was either to place yield signs at all approaches, similar to what a roundabout treatment would be, or to the other option would be to leave just a stop sign on Stanford and remove the stop signs on Park. But we just thought, since this was the intersection of two bicycle boulevards, that it was advantageous to just use yield.
I understand, but there are also cars in there, right, on Stanford, right? So that's, I'm not really sure about the solution. I understand why you're just where you're going to, but it would be very, what would be the word, unconventional, right? Just to, because cars may not just follow these directions, right?
It's actually being used, this treatment is being used elsewhere in the state in terms of the similarity to a roundabout, because a roundabout is controlled by yield signs. So the idea is cars can't fly through this. They need to be going slow to make it around the circle. So it's addressing that with that circle and really trying to enforce it with that. But during the design stage, we could consider if that's the most appropriate treatment here.
Okay, thank you.
Since you brought up Stanford Ave, I also wanted to mention that we will be doing a more focused study of proposed improvements on Stanford Ave. That was something we included when we did the outreach on this project, but we didn't get quite enough participation and feedback, so that's something you'll see coming back in the fall. And that Stanford Avenue connection is really critical from Park Boulevard. So we will be taking a closer look. This particular intersection will be part of that outreach to the neighborhood. So this will come back to you at some point and address a more comprehensive issue.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Michael.
Yeah, so I had a question on this particular intersection. I can see how it makes sense to go with this change. However, I'm a fairly frequent user of this intersection, and I almost always approach it from Stanford, and it makes me nervous thinking that the park traffic is on a yield basis rather than a stop sign. It seems to me that it would be less safe for cyclists coming from Stanford by a pretty wide margin. So if you are able to further study that, the reason that I have that concern is that the size of the roundabout circle strikes me as something that wouldn't really slow down an aggressive driver. And if you were doing something else to calm the traffic such that cars are approaching that circle at a slower speed, or if the circle was more of a, was in larger diameter, then you might have a good solution. But right now, it makes me a little bit nervous.
Okay, I see no other lights on this particular topic, but I heard a recommendation of perhaps a larger circle. So we'll keep that in mind as we make a motion later. So let's see. Next topic was additional development on Cal Ave causing more traffic. I think staff said that it's mitigated with better beaconing of the signs. I don't know if any commissioner wants to discuss this topic more. Otherwise, we'll move on. Okay, next one is safety of the users. Anyone want to talk about that topic? If there's so I wrote this in shorthand, so I didn't capture the full thing, but I think this was one of the questions that you asked, which is what are the potential issues, and I think they mentioned that came up with potentially safety of the users. I don't know if staff wants to expand upon that.
So this was Mark's question about, did we take a look at the collision data? And that is something that we do regularly as part of our planning. So I don't have it here tonight, but from my understanding that data was reviewed and as part of this consideration. So we could get you that offline if you'd like to see it, but it's good feedback for our future presentations to be sure we include it.
Okay, seeing no lights on that, I think that the next one is basically making the bridge more recognizable on the Mountain View side. I think staff said Mountain View is releasing their bike plan and trying their best on it. So, okay, I don't think we need to discuss that. And then we talked about the monument, the Pioneer Bike and James Hutchinson, which I just learned tonight. I don't know if there's any discussion we want to have about that, or if you have a specific recommendation. You kind of made one, but if you have one that you want to make the motion later, you're welcome to. Otherwise, is there a discussion that we want to have as a commission on this? Okay. Okay, then I have one more here, which is, so can staff talk about the restriction of the left turn at Page Mill and Sheridan? Can you go to that intersection and just talk about the rationale behind that?
Sure, let me pull it up here. So as we approach Sheridan on one side of Oregon Expressway, I'll just start at Grant Avenue and show what we're doing here. So at Grant Avenue, we're proposing a raised crosswalk, curb extensions, and a flashing beacon. And as we approach Page Mill Road and Sheridan Avenue, another high visibility crosswalk. There's a lot of walkers headed towards Caltrain who cross here. Today we already have the high visibility bicycle lanes, and those continue across the expressway, which goes under Park and to Page Mill Road. As you approach Page Mill Road, Sheridan Avenue, there's another T intersection with Park, and a concern that came up from the community was a motorist driving across the bike lane and making that merge to get onto Page Mill Road. So given that the primary auto access for these developments here is from Page Mill Road, we're proposing to convert this to right out only on Sheridan to prohibit left turns, to reduce conflicts coming across the bike lanes in this area. Did you have anything to add?
No, and I think the other issue is that the queues that build up there, the vehicle queues, make that a larger conflict, especially considering that the potential for a future signal at Page Mill.
Commissioner Alchuk? Oh, actually, Commissioner Gardias.
Just in regards to this, right? This Sheridan Avenue, there is only like what, 2 offices over there? I mean, just my general comment when I look into this, right? And that's pretty much just throughout, right? Generally, the plan is okay, right? And I said this up front, right, that I'm going to vote for it. But in a couple of places, right, some of the improvements, they seem excessive. You know, I come to this place, you know, because my wife works in this neighborhood, and, you know, I don't really see many people just coming, crossing street, crossing Park from the side of that, on the other side of Oregon. That's the prior exhibit that you were showing. So, for example, you know, spending money on that crosswalk doesn't seem logical, right? So my recommendation would be to you just take a look at some places where when you're recommending crosswalks, and just if there is no truly reason, if there are no pedestrians crossing this, why would we pretty much spend money for infrastructure that's not going to be used, right? That would be my saying in this. Thank you.
Vice Chair.
Just to make this absolutely clear, is the worry that folks coming from Sheridan making a left will cross both lanes of traffic and then the green bike lane, right? That's the worry, okay.
Okay, I see no other lights for this topic. There's actually one I missed, and I think one of the council members, when they reviewed the 2555 Park project that we reviewed a while back, I guess a few months ago, there was a comment by one of the council members about a stop sign, adding a stop sign for this, although there was no motion on it. Can staff talk about what was the rationale behind that?
So I think it was in response to public comments about vehicle and bicycle traffic in the area. And that was identified possibly as a means to help control or mitigate that. I'll note, as we noted for the council, that there weren't the warrants to support a stop sign at this time.
Okay, that sounds good. So I have no other list of issues for us to discuss. I heard maybe two potential recommendations. One was perhaps studying to see whether we need a larger circle around Stanford, and maybe one around the monument. But that's all I heard so far. So at this point in time, I think it's time for us to make a motion on this topic. Does anyone wish to make a motion? Vice Chair.
Can I borrow the recommendation? Thank you. I'd like to move that we recommend the City Council approve the concept plan line alignments for each project. I'd also like to add that there be further discussion or look into the Stanford Ave and Park Boulevard intersection.
Do we have anyone that wants to second this? Seconded by Commissioner Alto. Does the maker of the motion wish to speak on the motion?
I do not.
The seconder? Okay. Are there any amendments or discussion we want to have on this motion on the floor? Commissioner Gardias?
I just trust that I don't need to make an amendment about the monument, right? So no amendments, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no other lights to discuss this topic, I think it's time for us to take a vote on this. So all in favor, raise your hand. Okay, the motion passes unanimously. Okay, so we're going to close this item and move on to approval of the minutes. Does any commissioner want to approve the minutes that were in our packet?
I motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Commissioner Alchek. Anyone seconding that? Okay. Seconded by the Vice Chair. All in favor? Raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous on the minutes. And any commission staff announcements? Vice Chair? Sure, go ahead.
So I just wanted to mention that last week, Chair Tanaka and myself met with the mayor and vice mayor for about an hour just to chat about our commission and how we can serve council and the city to the best of our abilities. In short, just a few summary notes I want to go over. So the council really values our time and especially the verbatim minutes, although there was a mention that our motions could be a little sharper at times. The mayor and vice mayor strongly encourage us to engage the community more, so Chair Tanaka and I are going to look into some ways that we can do that, but we'd love to hear your ideas as well. The mayor mentioned that we can flag issues of the council via colleagues memo, which I don't believe has happened in a while, so if there are issues of interest to us that we want to bring to the attention of council, that's a way to do it. And finally, the mayor and vice mayor would love us to go deeper on a few fundamental issues that really affect citizens. They specifically pointed us to the National Citizen Survey, which was taken earlier this year. So that's something we'll be digging into as well.
Okay, thank you. So usually we have something on here where we could kind of select which topics that we used to have in the Google Doc, and it was now a massive spreadsheet. So if that could be printed out next time, that'd be great. Otherwise, if actually Commissioner Michael, do you have?
So I wonder if we could ask Assistant Director Late to comment. at either briefly or as long as you like on the summit, the Palo Summit, which I think is of great interest to the Planning Commission, and anything that's coming out of that in terms of next steps, as well as what the Planning Department is doing in terms of putting the comments on the summit online in any way that we might want to support that.
So thank you for that question. I think by and large, the response that we have received about the summit was that it was a great success. There was a lot of positive energy and thoughts. The tables, the folks who participated in the table discussions had some really thoughtful suggestions that we are looking at. And I believe this week there should be something on the city's website, or at least the comprehensive plan website update location, that has the raw data posted so that people can see the comments from their table or their individual contributions to that effort. And over the next period of time, we'll be looking to synthesize that or catalog it somehow so that it can be more easily digested. Meanwhile, we're also going forward with soliciting applications to be a part of these working group conversations. So we've already received some applications, and I believe we're still looking for some more participants to help focus in on some detailed sections, elements of the plan. So not much has changed in terms of the schedule that Director Gittleman laid out at a prior meeting. We're on track with that. And I believe at the end of this month, we're going to be returning to the council with just more of an update of how that's progressing. So I'd be interested in the commission's thoughts about the summit, as I know many of you were there and participated too.
Vice Chair?
So just in my experience of going to a lot of planning meetings and design charrettes and things like this, I thought it was really, really well run. You know, there were 250 or 300 folks, which is a huge turnout. It was really nice to have it in the new library. Yeah, and I just want to commend staff. I thought it was really well done and helpful, and looking forward to the notes as well.
Any other commissioners that want to comment on that? Okay. So let's see. So just a quick reminder here. So commissioner representatives for June are Commissioner Rosenblum and Commissioner Gardias. So staff will, if there's a planning topic, staff will arrange for kind of a brief time for the appropriate representative to speak on the item. And one thing that we're going to also request is the representative maybe gives a kind of quick summary of the meeting, just so that we get feedback of how the recommendation went at council. So I think Commissioner Gardias, were you at the last meeting? Okay, Commissioner, do you wish to just speak for just a few minutes on what was the results of that?
So, Mr. Chairman, I went to the only meeting where I thought there would be a pertinent topic, which was pretty much when the council was discussing retail ordinance that's going to come to us on the 24th, I believe, and I can tell that this was a very interesting meeting, and I'm not really sure if I have crystallized politically proper summary of findings. I can only say that that in this ordinance there's lots of detailed directions to us. That's how I read this ordinance, that go in different directions. I think that the consensus was just to expand this toward the retail district of California, toward toward north 1 block, because this is where some businesses are. And I think that, that this would be major part of our discussion. That would be my summary of that, the intent of the council in one sentence. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Does staff know about the future council meetings and whether PTC representation would be warranted?
Yes. I was just pulling up the list here. I think for the next meeting, either the next meeting or two, the 441 Page Mill Road project is returning to the council, but I don't know that PTC representation is needed at that meeting for two reasons. One, the council asked for redesigns to the project, which the commission has not seen. And there were some changes or updates to the fiscal analysis, which the commission didn't review, and that seems to be the focus of the discussion. And then later this month, on the 29th, we have a handful of items that will be going to the council, and as that agenda crystallizes a little more, I could reach out to the commission, and particularly Commissioners Rosenblum and Commissioner Gardias about what items should be presented for a summary update to the council, as I think some of those items may warrant that.
Okay, great. So we'll make sure we do that. So I think at this point, the meeting is adjourned. So thank you.